Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. We have a few topics to discuss in this very latest Moon Lambo Hot Jam. Starting with this one from CoinGape, XRP ETF set to eclipse ETH and Solana-based ETFs, says Canary Capital CEO. Well, you don't say. Look, it is so obvious that if you're talking altcoins, just look at the top altcoins. XRP has substantially more interest than the others. Could not be more obvious. If you just look at other top altcoins where there are firms that are seeking to have spot ETFs. The most firms are filing for XRP ETFs. Last I saw anyway, I think this is the right number. I think it's 11 firms, 11 different companies seeking XRP ETFs. And then for Solana, second place, and they had like 7. Maybe they got a couple more since then. I remember last seeing 7. Maybe it's like 8 or 9 now. But XRP's in the lead, and that is because there's the most interest in XRP. And do you have any idea how much money is going to flow into XRP itself because of this? XRP is finite. There's not that much of it. I know 100 billion XRP sounds like a lot of XRP, but way less than 1% of humans have ever owned a single XRP in their lives. And it already hit an all-time high this year of $3.40. What do you think happens when it's broadly accepted the world over that XRP just makes sense and it's broadly adopted? You know, this is nothing here. And so it really is astonishing. So given that XRP is finite, it truly is scarce. There's really just not that much of it. When you have these firms coming in, and they will ultimately get approved for XRP ETFs, it's hard to overstate the degree to which this will positively impact the price of XRP over a span of years and decades, frankly. Way more money is going to flow in. Because understand, when people buy these ETFs, what happens ultimately is that the firms that offer the ETFs back it with actual XRP. So if you buy an XRP ETF, you're not holding the XRP yourself, but the firm you buy the ETF from is buying XRP. So it materially impacts the supply and demand dynamics. Also got to talk about some trouble in paradise here. Here's the headline. First crypto bill vote fails to get 100% Republican support despite Trump's call. And by the way, something's going to happen today. For sure, something's going to happen today. The president even said so, and I'll get to that a little bit later in the video. But before going further, I do want to be clear. I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. All right, into this first piece. And look, if you think XRP makes sense, you ain't the only one. It's not just me. It's not just you. It's some of the most intelligent, successful, and wealthy individuals the world over that agree that XRP makes sense. And as a result, more and more money is just going to keep flowing in over time. Piece reads as follows. Canary Capital CEO has forecasted that the XRP ETF could outperform both the Ethereum ETF and the Solana ETF products. This follows speculations of an XRP ETF being approved in the coming days. In a recent interview shared by Paul Barron, the CEO of Canary Capital, Stephen McClurg, argued that an XRP ETF has unique potential to outperform rivals. Okay, now I'm going to read a quote from him, and he references he says a 33 Act fund, and I read that, I was like, what the hell is that? And then I figured out what he's actually talking about is the Securities Act of 1933. I've just never heard somebody articulate it like that. So he's just saying, obviously, XRP falling under, the Securities Act of 1933. He's referencing that anyway, because it'd be not XRP itself, but like the fund itself, because does have to be approved by the SEC, obviously. That's what he's referencing, just to be clear. So here's the quote from him. There's now a clear court precedent that XRP isn't a security. It can easily move into a 33 Act fund. Out of all pending products, I think the XRP ETF will gain the most traction. End quote. His remarks stand out at a time when crypto investors are closely tracking developments around Ethereum ETF and Solana ETF proposals, and both seen as key next steps after Bitcoin ETFs. Well, look, folks, don't be surprised. I've been saying this forever. I said it when XRP was being attacked by the SEC throughout all those years. I said under a level playing field, XRP will dominate. And what has happened? Now we have a pro-crypto administration. XRP has been declared not a security, and what's happening? XRP is dominating Bitcoin's little bitch ass, and same for Ethereum. And it ain't done. It is going to be a veritable bloodbath market, speaking in terms of market action, by the time this cycle's over. Mark my words on that one. Then there was also this, just gives you an idea of the degree to which these ETFs will truly matter. Like over a long period of time, it gets ridiculous. Like look at this headline from the Daily Hodl. BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF blows past $80 billion faster than any other exchange-traded fund in history, Bloomberg analyst. Senior Bloomberg analyst Eric Balchunas says that BlackRock's Bitcoin exchange-traded fund has surpassed the $80 billion landmark faster than any ETF in history. In a new thread on the social media platform X, Balchunas says that the iShares Bitcoin Trust ETF, which is the IBIT, that's the ticker symbol, is now worth $83 billion, the 21st largest ETF overall. And here's the quote. IBIT blew through the $80 billion mark on Friday, fastest ETF to get there in 374 days, about 5 times faster than the previous record held by VU, which did it in 1,814 days. Welcome to crypto, folks. And so even if XRP is not going to outperform that because Bitcoin's got the brand cachet, if you will, and the most eyeballs are on that one, even though it doesn't offer the greatest opportunity, certainly not compared to XRP. It's not the case that XRP is going to outperform that over that time period anyway. It doesn't have to. It's still going to be ridiculous and going to be wildly successful. And again, what matters more is over a span of years and decades how much money is ultimately going to flow in. And then we also have this, XRP News Today. ProShares XRP Futures ETF launch on July 18th, 2025 boosts institutional access. And I'm not going to read the article. I just wanted to mention this. This is going live in 2 days. It's an XRP ETF, but it is a futures ETF, not a spot ETF, which means that purchases of this are not backed by actual XRP here. But still, it's bringing more attention to XRP. And as they cite here, it's something that will raise market confidence. I do think it's certainly fair to say that. And so there's this post from John Deaton speaking on this matter. And Attorney John Deaton, of course, having represented 75,000 XRP holders, I was curious to see what he has to say about this because he was fighting for all of us literally for years and for free. He just did it because he was so disgusted by what the SEC did, attacking XRP holders the world over. And so upon seeing this news, John Deaton wrote, 2 years ago, a federal judge declared XRP itself not a security, which is what 75,000 XRP holders fought for. 2 years later, XRP ETFs go live. God bless free markets. Spot on, that's exactly right. What a turn of events. Just a little over 2 years ago, like there was a question mark as to whether or not XRP was going to be allowed to basically exist in the United States. And now, 11 firms have filed for spot XRP ETFs. Just wild stuff here. Truly wild stuff. You'll love to see it. And then we have this first crypto bill vote fails to get 100% Republican support despite Trump's call. And so I'm going to run through this real quick with you. And then I'm just telling you, there is something that's going to happen today. Let me do this in order. But we did get something from President Trump, and it sounds like, yeah, something's actually going to happen today. Again, hang with me here. So people are talking about this broadly, and I opined on this yesterday, and I'll show you what I had to say in just a second here. But here's a post from Paul Barron yesterday. He's got a very popular YouTube channel, technology channel. He does cover crypto at times. He's got like 1.55 million subscribers on his YouTube channel. And here yesterday afternoon, so that would be Tuesday yesterday, he said, breaking, 210 Democrats and 13 Republicans voted against advancing the Crypto Genius Act, Clarity Act, and Anti-CBDC Act. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene led the Republicans on not to advance. I expect her to flip-flop once the President of the United States puts on some pressure. Let your lawmakers know this is not the way for freedom. And so it's not going to be a surprise to anybody that's paying attention that 210 Democrats don't want progress on the crypto front, and it's just the stupidest damn thing. They did not learn their lesson from 2024. There is no anti-crypto voter constituency. It doesn't exist. There are people that don't like crypto, but that's not going to change anybody's vote because they don't have skin in the game. On the flip side, if you do own crypto, that's going to piss you the fuck off, isn't it? Yes, it is. Absolutely it is. and then it's going to make you less likely to vote that way. How have they not learned this? Crypto is not partisan. They are making it partisan. How stupid can you actually be? Do they have brains? The answer is no. I will answer that for the answer is actually no. There's nothing in there. It's like applesauce mixed with mashed potatoes. That's pretty much it. And just sloshes around in there. But still, there's these 13 Republicans. Because look, it's a Republican Party platform at this point to be pro-crypto. It effectively is the case. So 13 Republicans voting against this? What is wrong with these humans? And I'm not going to read all of them, but here they are on your screen if you're curious. Here are the representatives in Congress that voted against moving this thing forward. Right there, and this was shared by Eleanor Terrett here. She's a journalist and host at Crypto America, formerly with Fox Business. And yeah, it didn't go so well here. And then we had this. So here's the argument. This is from Marjorie Taylor Greene, representative of Congress. She says, this week, the House is voting on the Genius Act, which lays the groundwork for a layered central bank digital currency, where Americans interact with stablecoins, but behind the scenes, there are the functional surveillance capabilities of a CBDC, central bank digital currency. The bill as written does not expressly ban a central bank digital currency and does not protect self-custody. Self-custody means that you control your own money, not a third party. On January 23rd, President Trump signed an executive order on digital financial technology with two important clauses. Number one, people will maintain self-custody of digital assets, and two, banning agencies from establishing a central bank digital currency in the U.S. or abroad. The Genius Act does not follow President Trump's executive order because it does not ban a CBDC. House leadership did not allow any amendments banning a CBDC. This should not be tolerated. But is that true? Well, hang with me. I'll get to the answer. Here's a post from Representative Thomas Massey. He says, they blocked consideration of my amendments to the Clarity Act, which would have prohibited central bank digital currencies as well. Here's Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna. These are the three Republicans that I'm highlighting in this video. Again, there were 13 of them. And she said here, I support crypto but cannot get behind anything that allows for a backdoor to central bank digital currency. There was a vote to allow legislation to come to the floor that would enable that to happen. Thus, I voted no. Happy to support any pro-crypto bill, but I will not back CBDCs. Okay, well, if there was an actual backdoor in there, I think that a lot of people would be up in arms over that. But again, the question is it true? The answer is no. Here's a post from Eleanor Terrett here. She shared this screen grab from the Genius Act, by the way, and here's what she had to say about it. Many of the House members who voted no today had concerns with the Genius Act possibly enabling a CBDC. However, there is language in Genius that would explicitly prohibit the Fed from creating a retail CBDC. The section below says the bill shall not be construed as expanding the Fed's authority to offer services directly to the public. Meaning it cannot authorize things like digital wallets, personal accounts, or anything that veers into CBDC territory. So, folks, if the government can't do it because the bill explicitly says no, that means if you're going to have self-custody, that means you're doing it yourself. And it also means that the government can't create a CBDC. Duh! Like, this is a matter-of-fact thing. It's on your screen. It just is true. So what the hell are these Republicans doing? What functionally is wrong with them? And so here's my post on this. I shared this in the evening yesterday. I wrote, a procedural vote to advance the Genius Act failed today in the House. 210 Democrats voted against it, as expected. They've not learned their lesson from the 2024 electoral laws, but also 13 Republicans voted against it. Some representatives in Congress claim there is a backdoor capability, and that's a quote, for a CBDC. In fact, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene has explicitly claimed this. This is a blatant lie. There is no language in the Genius Act that allows for a CBDC. In fact, as I'll show in a post in this thread, there is existing language in the Genius Act to prevent a CBDC from coming into existence. And I'll just note here, what I was referencing was the post from Eleanor Terrett that I just shared with you. So there it is. Like, that's literal proof that it's in the Genius Act we're protected, so this is just nonsense here. And they have to know that. Unless it's incompetency, which is also possible. Like, it could be incompetent. Actually, I opine on that too in this. So anyway, and then I wrote, the language that prevents a CBDC is a broad catch-all, which is a smart approach. If you specifically ban a CBDC, using that term specifically, but bad actors in the government still want a CBDC, then they'll just name it something else and tweak specifics so that it would technically not fall under the definition of CBDC. I'm assuming it's incompetency that has led to this situation rather than malicious intent, at least on the part of the Republicans that voted against the advancement of the Genius Act today. And folks, I do believe that's the most likely culprit here. I think this is incompetency. Whatever they think, it's wrong. And if they are so stubborn that they want the word central bank digital currency banned to be in there, oh my God, that is incompetency. It's already done. Use logic. Use logic. Look at what I just showed you that was shared by Eleanor Terrett. Use your little brain there. That makes it impossible. If it says you can't do the thing, then whether it's a central bank digital currency, or you call it something else, or it's a new service that's unrelated to that, you can't do it. You literally cannot do it. The bill says so. It's already done. You don't need the words central bank digital currency in there. I wouldn't care if it were in there, but what I am saying is it doesn't need to be in there. Period. And then I wrote, as for the Democrats, they continue to cater to a voter bloc that literally doesn't exist. There is no anti-crypto constituency. Yes, there are Americans that are anti-crypto, but that's not an issue that determines how they'll vote in any election. The Democrats are making crypto partisan, which is both wrong and stupid. I'm still optimistic this will get worked out, but wow, some people are just bad at stuff in general. Facepalm emoji. Aptly placed, I'd say. And here's a post from Caitlin Long. She is the founder and CEO of Custodia Bank. Been in Bitcoin since 2012, she cites there. She says, before y'all freak out, don't forget that the first procedural vote in the Senate on the Genius Act failed as well. The second one passed 11 days later. Yeah, and so this doesn't mean it's the end of the world. I don't think it will be the end of the world. There's a lot on the line here. And frankly, take a look at this. And so here's the big news. And this is why I said it sounds like something actually is going to happen today. Here's a post from President Donald J. Trump on social media. He says, I am in the Oval Office with 11 of the 12 congressmen/women necessary to pass the Genius Act, and after a short discussion, they have all agreed to vote tomorrow morning in favor of the rule. Speaker of the House Mike Johnson was at the meeting via telephone and looks forward to taking the vote as early as possible. I want to thank the congressmen/women for their quick and positive response. Make America great again. So this could be progressed today. So maybe we'll actually get some freaking good news here, but it was stupid to hold this up at all. These stupid theatrics. God damn it, you stupid representatives. What is functionally wrong with you? So ridiculous. Like, how can you just apply logic? Damn it. Like, it's in there in the freaking Genius Act. It's literally there. You can't have a central bank digital currency. You don't need it to say central bank digital currency to make it impossible for there to be a central bank digital currency. This is not hard. This is not hard. I'm telling you. Little bitches. I'm just telling you. But still, I think it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. It's just that this really burns my biscuits. I know it's a virtual certainty this thing's going to get passed. In my estimation, like, I'd be willing to bet that it's going to. But wow. I just don't have tolerance. I don't have that much tolerance anyway for incompetency on this level. Like, you're playing with people's financial lives. You're like, I do not appreciate it. I really, like, I got skin in the game. I don't appreciate it. Do you? I'm sure the answer is no. Nobody wants this crap. All right, you guys tell me what you think. I'll sign off here. But I'm hoping a little bit later today we're going to get some good headlines and everything's going to be all right. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.